Hello and welcome back to Sarah's Stitch. My name is Sarah. I am a knitter who lives in Hoboken, New Jersey, which is just across the river from Manhattan, where I work as an accountant during the day and then knit pretty much all other hours of the day. And today I'm going to be going through my Make 9 for 2025, slightly late. So without further ado, I guess let's get started. So first what I'm wearing the Dear Duomo sweater by Sung-Hee Hong, and I knit it out of Explorer Knits and Fibers fingering tweed held double, and this color is from the Ireland collection. What's the name of it? Can't remember what the name is. It's the green from Ireland. That's all I remember. It's all on my Ravelry page, and I'm sure I talked about it at some point in a podcast, but that's not why we're here today. We're gonna go through my Make 9. So historically, I've done like seasonal plans. I didn't manage to make a seasonal plan for the winter this year, so I figured instead we would try the Make 9 and see how I do. I'm still planning on doing seasonal seasonal plans going forward, starting in spring, but this is going to be my Make plan for the full year. So we'll see, I guess, at the end of the year how successful I am at completing the Make 9. I know we're pretty much towards the end of January now. It's the 25th today, 26th today, but I still have not started any of these projects. So I feel like I'm still allowed to do a Make 9. So let's get started. I have my notes here. So we'll start with, I do have some of the yarn for some of the projects, so I'll show that along with the pattern here. But if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my notebook for my notes. So the first project I'd like to make on my Make 9, I'm going to be making out of this yarn I got in Scotland with my mom from Ginger Twist Studio. It is the Masham Mayhem DK in the color Au Naturel, and I'm going to be making my mom a cabled sweater of this for her based off of our family's like traditional cable. So there's no pattern for it. I've made a vest already with the cable, and my mom wants a pullover version. So I've had this yarn for like a year and a half, 2 years, but I've been delaying making her a sweater because the math involved with making a sweater for her that doesn't have a pattern, and also I can't decide if I want to do raglans or a drop shoulder. I think I'm gonna go raglan, so that's decided, but it's really just I need to like just wind it up now at this point and cast it on. So that is project number 1, which is not a great start to this because I can't really give you any information other than the yarn because I'm making the pattern up. But I do actually have the pattern written for the vest. I just never did anything with it, so I guess I in theory could write the pattern for the pullover once I start it, but that again involves starting it. So that is going to be the Crawford pullover for my mom, which is project number 1. Project number 2 is actually going to be 2 projects, so it's a loose Make 9. It's a make a lot. It's 9 general projects / ideas, but it's a hard lot more than 9 projects. So the second projects things that I'd like to make are the Dagmar jackets for both my mom and I, which in theory we will be wearing to Rhinebeck in October. So at Rhinebeck this past year, we both got yarn from Sawkill Farms, 3-ply worsted for both of us, right? Yes. I got this really pretty, they're both the natural colors, but this is the dark brown undyed, and my mom got light gray undyed. And again, it's a 3-ply worsted, 50% Sawkill Farm wool, 50% domestic wool, 100 meters, or 100 grams, 200 yards. And I will be making both of us Dagmar jackets out of this. So Dagmar jacket by Petite Knit. I don't have buttons picked out yet. I think my mom is going to use like buttons she has and do a mishmash of them. For my sweater, it's the brown one. I'm probably going to try and find some metal, like more traditional buttons. I don't think I'm going to do the toggles like in the pattern, but yeah, this is plan number 2 for Rhinebeck this year, which I'm so excited for. And apparently I just really have a lot of cables in my life coming forward. And this gray and this gray are incredibly similar. So I'm thinking I may hold something with the ginger twist to make it a little bit darker, just to have a bit of variety from just gray sweaters, but we'll see if I actually wind up doing that or not. Typically when I make my mom and I the same or similar sweaters, I'll make mine first to make sure I get all the kinks out of the way and then make hers. This time I think I'm going to gauge swatch with my yarn, because I'm actually going to gauge swatch for this just because it's a jacket and I'd like it to fit properly. So I'm going to gauge swatch with my yarn, and then I'm going to knit my mom's first just so I know that one's done. Give it to her, and then I can knit mine later on. But yes, that's project number 2. Project number 3 is a Lumi pullover by Sorry Nordland. I don't have yarn picked out for this yet. I have a few different options that I could use in my stash, or like partially use in my stash, but I can't really decide on colors. So I'd like to make this pattern I've wanted to make since I restarted knitting, but I haven't yet, obviously, and I think this is the year I'm going to do it. It's like going back and forth in my head of if I want it to be like a fun color with a neutral, dark with a neutral, spin cycle with a neutral. So it's a lot of things going on in my head, but I definitely want to make that, and I feel like I'm not suffering right now, but like I haven't worked on color work in ages, it feels like, so I'd like to work on color work at some point. All right. Project number 4 is a vest. So I'd like to make, which one is this one? Okay, yes. The Silly Slipover by Petite Knit, which is the textured vest. And I want to make this in a fun color, I think. So like a bright, like a poppy or a peachy color, or like the new Petite Knit. I think she has a new color with Santa's Garden called Green Tea. Like I want a fun colored vest. I've not made that many vests, and I think this year I'm going to try and make quite a few more just so I can wear them longer, because all of my like chunky sweaters I can't wear starting in like March and April once it starts getting a little bit warmer out. So I'd like to have the opportunity to still wear my knitwear even as it gets warmer. So vests. And I think this one is not as popular of a petite knit pattern as some other ones are. I'm trying to get away from only knitting like popular designers and like expanding my designer pool, but I really want the Silly Slipover, so that will be hopefully something I make this year. Again, TBD on the yarn that I'm going to use for it. If I want to, I could do like a fingering and a mohair, or I could do a DK. I think if I did a DK, I'd probably do a superwash just so I could potentially wear it in the summer without a shirt underneath if I wanted to, as just a tank top. I think if I did a fingering and a mohair, I wouldn't be bothered one way or the other if it was superwash or non-superwash, just because I don't think I'd ever wear mohair in the middle of the summer or June or whenever, like an appropriate time to wear wool. But I don't think I would wear mohair without something underneath, just because I think it feels like it would get toasty. I don't think that's something I'm into. So that is number 4. Number 5 is going to be another colorwork pattern. I'm torn between the Autumn Alpine and the Alpine Bloom, but I'd like to make one of those two from Caitlin Hunter, Boylan Knitworks. So again, a spin cycle, probably most likely a spin cycle with, I'm thinking if I did an Autumn Alpine, it'd be a brighter spin cycle with a dark main color. And if I did the Alpine Bloom, I think it'd be more of a springy color combo, maybe like a, I don't know, like a peachy or something with colors. I don't know, but I really love that pattern. Apparently I'm in a color work and floral mood this year, but I really love that pattern. I haven't made it yet, so I'd like to try and make that with some of the spin cycle I do have already. I think I have Ghost Ranch, Mississippi Marsala, Straw Flower, Miss Me, and something else in enough that I could get an alpine bloom or an autumn alpine out of it. So it's kind of just deciding which season I want it for. But I love the ribbing details on both of them, and I love the motif. So it's really just a factor of, do I want them in a t-shirt or a sweater? So that is project number 5. All right, project number 6 is going to be another vest. So again, 2025 is the year of the vests for me, apparently. So for this one, I'd like to make the Stockholm Slipover V-neck by Petite Knit. And for this one, I don't have yarn picked out. I think I want it to be in a neutral or neutral adjacent color. So a cream, a beige, an almond, a marzipan, a something to wear with. I have a lot of like Uniqlo Heat Tech turtlenecks. Most of them are black, but I have a couple that are like dark brown or navy. So I think I want a cream or very neutral vest to wear with them, just so that they get some love, because it feels, some of them are very thin, so it feels weird to wear them by themselves. But then like brown doesn't really go with, like, I love brown, but I don't have like sweaters that I could wear with a brown sweater or with a brown turtleneck. So essentially it's just filling that hole in my wardrobe. But yeah, I would like to make that, again, by Petite Knit. Typically for Petite Knit patterns, I make a size small. I don't think this would be any different in this case. So, project 8, project 7 is going to be probably the most difficult of these to accomplish, and that is that I'd like to make 12 pairs of socks this year, which I recognize is not one pattern, but I have so much sock yarn. I am overflowing with sock yarn, and I'd like to start knitting some of it down. So my goal is to knit at least 1 pair of socks every month. No specific pattern. I'm gonna pick whatever yarn is speaking to me. I think I have like 1.5 years worth of Woolberry Collective sock sets and probably 1.5 years of Homespun House Patreon sock sets to knit through. So I've got more than enough yarn and more than enough colors to keep me occupied for a while, on top of all of the other skeins of sock yarn that I have that I've gotten in like various pre-orders and things like that. So the goal is to knit down some of the sock stash this year. And I also was kind of contemplating, I just thought of this, but am contemplating like if there's specific colorways that like I really want knit, but I don't want to knit them myself, I may send them out to, I've gotten them cranked before, like, and get tubes cranked for them, so I just have to put heels, toes, and cuffs on them, which could be an option, just to start getting some things moving through my stash so I can get some new things in. But right now there's a lot of just stuff that's not getting knit, and it needs to be knit because I love it and it's beautiful and it's gorgeous and I'd like to knit it up, but there's only so many hours in the day. So again, I think this is going to be the most difficult to accomplish, just because I don't think I even came close to 12 pairs of socks last year. I do have a lot of single socks from last year because I would get distracted by the shiny new objects. So jury is still out on if I'm considering when I make those second socks, if that counts as a pair of socks for the year. But I think we're going to start out the year with saying that that's a pair of socks completed for the year. And if I get to a point where I think I could actually make 24 individual socks, then we will say I made 12 pairs of socks. So that is project number 7 in my Make 9, is a box of socks, a year of socks, whatever you want to call it, but hopefully 12 or more pairs of socks made. Project 8 is very vague. Projects 8 and 9 are both very vague. I'd like, for project 8, I would like to finally make a sweater with some of my new knitted yarn. I have a Miles shirt jacket in progress and has been in progress for over a year, maybe over 2 years, in it's the color Yinst, which is like a really pretty like light blue, which I really should pull out again, but I've not finished it yet. And this year I want to be the year that I knit a Newton sweater, because I still don't have one, and I've had this yarn. It's gorgeous and I really want to use it. So I have a couple sweater quantities of Newton. Let me get the other one out. I have, so I'll go from oldest to youngest. This I got with the Yenst, whenever that was, a few years ago. I have this really pretty cream, it begins with a D. It's just, I think it's just an undyed white creamy wool. I've got this gorgeous, I don't know if all these colors are gonna show up, but it's greens. It's like a green, dark green olive with like little bits of brown and teal kind of in there. This one I think is called Botanica. But this is gorgeous. I don't know, my hesitation, not hesitation, but this one, I don't know, I think I need to hold something with this just so I can get used to knitting with unspun, whether it's mohair, alpaca, or like an alpaca Folgetrot from Sandra's Garn. But this color, because there's so many, I really hope it's popping up, but it probably isn't. Because there's so many colors in here, I don't know what one I want to lean into to make it that color. So if I do like a more blue mohair, it's gonna make it a little bit more cool toned. If I do an olivey one, olive, so on and so forth. So that's why this one is an I don't know for what I'm going to make with it. Originally I wanted to do color work with the two of these together, but that feels a tad ambitious at the moment. So considering I've not made anything with it yet. And then the third colorway I have, which is my current favorite, is Morker from 2023, which is like the winter solstice color. This is, I think there was two Morkas last year, a darker and a like Morker and very dark Morker. This is the dark one, and it's a really like really dark brown nearing on black. So I'd like to make something with this. For one of these two, probably the Morker, I was thinking either a Hellloooo slipover or something similar to that. And then for this, maybe a cloud sweater, I'm not sure, something like that. But that is project number 8, is I'd like to make a Newton sweater fully and finish it this year. All right, so project number 9 is a bit of a vague one, and that is to knit something from a designer I've not knit from before. So my top 2 contenders right now are Veronica Lindberg, who is Kutifikika, and Wai Chen Chang, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, who is Saskia Knits. She used to be the Petite Knitter, but she just rebranded like the other day to be Saskia Knit, or Saskia & Co. maybe? She just changed her name. It'll be linked down below. But I have her book. This is the Petite Knitter's book, Saskia & Co.'s book, which I got, when did I get it? In the fall, and it's got gorgeous patterns in it. I've not made anything from her before, and I think that if I am feeling something color worky, I'm going to knit something from here. And I don't have it yet, but would very much like to get the new Kutifikika book, which is Knits to Wear, I think it's called. And I think every sweater in that book is something that I'd like to make. So, and I've not made anything from her before, which is kind of crazy when I think about it and how long I've been knitting, and I feel like she's a very popular designer. So this year I'd like to make something from a new to me designer. So those are my 2025 Make 9-ish, soft Make 9 plans. Let me know if you think I should add anything to this list, what you're planning on making for the year, what your dream knit is, what your biggest goal is for the year, all of that good stuff. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. It really helps the channel, and liking the video, commenting down below, all of that good stuff, just to get me out there to more people so we can build the community and hopefully chat some more about knitting. All right, now I'm actually done. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in next week's video. Bye.